Ladies and gentlemen, Brayan Bello has returned. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. I say, hey guys, look, I need a break. I'm gonna take Monday off. Come back to you guys Tuesday. I do that, and we immediately get 2 videos in one day. So make it up for the ground we lost yesterday. But the reason we're making 2 videos today is because, well, just like the intro and the title and everything else in this video says, Brayan Bello is officially back with the Boston Red Sox. So we are gonna break down everything, what Brayan Bello coming back means, what the move itself actually was, and how all of this impacts the 2025 Red Sox. So let's start right there. We all kind of knew Brayan Bello was going to be back either today or yesterday, right? We've been talking about it for about a week now. I was really nervous they were going to activate him for that Patriots Day, Marathon Monday, whatever you want to call it, game at 11 a.m. Brayan Bello historically doesn't do as well in day games. An 11 a.m. game coming back from the IL after you missed about a month of the season. Yeah, it just didn't feel like that was a recipe for success. So I'm glad the Boston Red Sox decided to activate him today instead of tomorrow. And the official move the Red Sox made to get him back here was to option Zack Kelly back to AAA baseball by activating Bello. I think we should start with Brayan Bello before we get into Zack Kelly, because I personally think Brayan Bello coming back is a massive impact for this Red Sox roster. Now, you could sit there and look at his statistics last year and say, Corbin, they were mediocre. Why is this such a big impact? And you're right, they were kind of mediocre. It was a 4.49 ERA with a 4.29 FIP, a 1.361 WHIP, and a 95 ERA, plus about 5% below league average production, at least ERA-wise. But he ended things on an incredibly high note. It wasn't just like, oh, the last 2 weeks of the season looked really good. No, Bello's entire second half, he looked like an entirely different pitcher. That ERA was at 3.47 in his last 13 games of the 2024 season, which was down almost 2 full runs from his first half of 24, which was at 5.32. Batters went from hitting at a 796 OPS against him to a 629 OPS against him. The big thing for him last year were those blow-up innings. It was like one thing went wrong, everything goes wrong. Leadoff home run, you're probably going to get 3 or 4 runs that inning. Error behind him, he's probably going to give up 3 or 4 runs, right? And that just continued to keep happening. However, after the All-Star break, as he got into the second half of the year, we started to see less of that. We started to see more truly lockdown innings from Brayan Bello, better pitches in better locations, less emotion on the mound, which, by the way, I've never had a problem with Bello showing emotion, but it felt like that emotion always came in a negative light as opposed to a positive one. So I really like the fact that he really buckled down last year. He showed that he could be a legitimate middle-of-the-order rotation the back half of last season, and there's a lot of hope for Brayan Bello coming into this season. Even after coming off of injury, what Brayan Bello can bring to this rotation, if that's the Bello the Red Sox are going to get this year, is immense. Right? You take a look at where the rotation is at right now. You got Crochet at the front of it. Buehler's been giving you really good outings over the last 3 starts. Houck's been all over the place. You don't really have anyone, right? You've been bouncing between Fitz and Dobbins, who have both looked really good. And then you've got Sean Newcomb, who probably shouldn't be starting games at the major league level. Getting Bello back in here, and if he could give you what he gave you in the back half of 24, really solidifies that front end of this rotation, because all of a sudden, I always see this conversation come up a lot, right? The Red Sox are doing okay, but if they were to make the playoffs today, who would be your number 2 starter, right? Obviously, you throw in Crochet game 1. You go, I don't know, Buehler, Bello, is that kind of the situation you go here? If that's the Bello you get, this is what I'm talking about, right? He comes back in here, he could bring consistency, and not only consistency, but he can raise the ceiling of what this rotation can be on an everyday level. And I think those are both really 2 important things. I also think one of the bigger things last year too is that he was able to go a bit deeper into games than I would say a Sean Newcomb normally could, or even a guy like Fitz, who was giving you 6 innings quality starts. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to put Fitz into there, but my overall point here is he could raise the ceiling of this rotation, and he gives you consistency, and those are 2 really big things. Is that what we can expect from Bello coming out of this rehab assignment, though? Honestly, I don't know, because the Bello of last year looked a whole lot different than the Bello in that rehab assignment, right? Overall, it was a 7.07 ERA in 14 innings across 4 games. He did look like he was missing a ton of bats. That's because he was 21 strikeouts in those innings. He really wasn't walking too many either with 4. He was just getting tagged up a bit with 11 earned runs. There are a couple of ways that we can look at this. One, oh my God, dude, Bello can't even get these 19-year-olds out. We're bringing him back up to face the best talent in the world. He's going to get absolutely smoked. He's just simply not ready. 2, we could look at it and say, well, Bello, I would assume, and I think the Red Sox expected this out of him, was to treat these outings like a spring training, right? Instead of trying to get guys out as fast as humanly possible, he was working on things. He was working on pitch shape and location and getting that velocity up, which, by the way, is higher than it was last season, or in that same range it was last season, depending on which pitch you look at. He's making sure that his mechanics are sound because he hasn't thrown in games before this. He's making sure that he is no pain, right? Obviously, you're coming back from injury. You're pitching more to stay healthy than you are to dominate the 19-year-old who's had 2 years of experience in minor league baseball, or the 26-year-old who's never made it to Major League Baseball, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at this. And again, I'm not going to dictate which one you should be looking at it like, but in my opinion, it's a lot more fun, 1, to look at it that way. 2, it feels a bit more realistic, doesn't it? It feels a bit more realistic to say, hey, maybe there are reasons why he wasn't exactly incredible against these guys. Then, oh my God, he can't get these guys out. It's over. The sky is falling. This rotation is kaput. Boom, plow, right? It's not, in my opinion, that bad, but we'll see. Obviously, we'll see pretty quickly on here which Brayan Bello we're going to get and why. I think within the first couple of starts, right? If you guys didn't know yet, he is starting the game tonight, which is kind of awesome. Activate him, get him in there. I don't think they would have activated him if he wasn't starting, but I just wanted to double check and make sure everyone was on that same page. So we'll see, right? It's a big we will see. As for Zack Kelly getting optioned, it just kind of sucks to me. I came into this season with really high hopes for Zack Kelly in who he could be in a Red Sox rotation. Honestly, I still do have pretty high hopes for who Zack Kelly could be eventually in this bullpen, but at the same point too, at this moment in time, this was the correct move. And honestly, I don't think Zack Kelly would really feel bad about me saying that, right? I think he would also understand that as well. You look back at how the start to the season has gone for Zack Kelly, I think he would have said it probably could have gone better. His last 5 outings, he has allowed an earned run at least in each of those 5s. He's only had 2 scoreless innings in his entire first month of work. It's just simply not going to get the job done. And what's more interesting is when you look at his appearances so far this year, there's not really one thing that stands out all that much, right? Normally when guys are struggling super hard, it's like, oh, he can't get any swing and miss. Oh, he's walking guys all the time. Oh, he's hitting guys all the time. That wasn't really the case for Zack Kelly, right? He had 11 strikeouts in those 10 innings. He only walked 2 batters. He only hit 2 batters. He was mostly just getting hit around, I think. The ERA is at 9. The FIP is at 3.33. That indicates that what he can control on the mound, he's actually doing a pretty solid job of. So this becomes a little bit interesting, right? The Red Sox are obviously going to option him down. He's going to get a ton of time to work on things that have not gone right so far. Again, it was the right move. But now it sort of becomes one of these situations of, what is he doing wrong? I think there's a couple of ways this could end up working out, right? It could be a Greg Weiser situation where someone comes up to him and says, hey, dude, you're starting the wrong side of the rubber, right? Starting the other side, you're going to look a lot better. Does that, and now he's a really good piece for the Red Sox. It could be a couple-month thing where you got to rework the shape of some pitches. Maybe some pitch sequencing comes into effect. Maybe there's something in your mechanics that's making it easier to pick up on fastballs versus changeups. Or maybe it's just nothing at all, and this is just kind of who Zack Kelly is. I don't think it's the third one. We've seen better Zack Kellys in the past. We've seen stretches of better Zack Kelly over the recent history here. Personally, I think it's one of the two things, and we'll kind of see which one ends up. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Zack Kelly. I think we're going to see him a multitude of times this season, and hopefully at some point here, he can really sort of establish himself as that legit big league pitcher, because I genuinely think that's what he is. I don't know if he'll ever be a legitimate high leverage guy or a legitimate back end of the bullpen type guy, you know, one of the guys with entrance, lights and music and whatnot. But if he ends up being a solid 5-6 inning type pitcher for you, you're in a really good spot with this bullpen. And I'm really hoping Zack Kelly can get there. So looking at this overall, I'm both excited and a little bit sad, right? I'm excited that Brayan Bello's coming back. I've been waiting for this for a while. The Red Sox rotation getting healthy is going to be hugely important to their success this year. Bello's a big part of that. It feels like when the Red Sox are winning, Bello's always smack dab in the middle of it. When they're losing, he's also smack dab in the middle of it. Hopefully more winning than losing than we've had over the last couple of years, but going to be really great to see him on the mound again. And then I'm kind of sad because I'm a huge Zack Kelly fan. I mean, I may be the only person in New England who owns his jersey, right? I'm a big Zack Kelly guy, and I really hope he can get himself correct quickly and as efficiently as humanly possible can get up here and give us what I truly think Zack Kelly can give. So that's kind of it for this one. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about this move? What do you think about Bello coming back, Kelly going down? I think it was the right move, right? I think at the end of the day, we all sort of from a mile away saw this coming, especially after his last outing where he essentially gave up the game for Boston. Honestly, I would have been surprised if it was anything else outside of maybe a DFA for Sean Newcomb, but with Giolito being pushed back again, yeah, I think this one makes a lot of sense, but let me know what you guys think. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have liked the video as well. It just helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying this kind of content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Sea Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you maybe for the last time today, but as always, in the red seats.